What's up, Starcraft fans? The patch is now live. That means it's time to discuss the new mutations. We got a lot this time actually, about 9 of them. Yeah, 9 of them. So let's go through them one by one. So first we have choices on Temple of the Past with Hardened Will, Inspiration, and Mutually Assured Destruction. It's Brutal +3 according to the new Brutal Plus rating. There are some gaps, but I assign it to the lower Brutal Plus, so the higher Brutal Plus will be truly higher. Hybrids explode upon death, and they get a shield that absorbs all but 10 damage when other units are near them. The air hybrids are probably the worst here, since they have a nasty tendency to just fly over your defenses and beeline the temple. Still, lots of commanders are great options for this one. Raynor has Vikings and Spider Mines, Zagara has Banelings and Scourge, Vorazun has Black Hole, Abathur and Dahaka have Locusts. The most important thing is probably to go on the offensive as soon as possible, to give yourself as much time as possible to burst down the hybrids before they arrive at the temple, or your base. Next we'll have Inordinate Response on Scythe of Amon with Avenger and Power Overwhelming. It's a Brutal +3, the enemies are going to be really strong here, especially with all the abilities they get. The good news is that there is still a ton of ways to cheese this by going straight for the Void Slivers, or Void Shards as I like to insist on calling them. Hero Solo might actually not be a terrible option for some commanders who have relatively squishy armies, because some of the spells from Power Overwhelming are less likely to be used when there are fewer units, for example, heroes. So yeah, that might not be a terrible option here. I can see the Artanis Carax cheese still being perfectly viable, and probably what I recommend to most beginners who want to do this on Brutal. We'll have next By Fire Be Purged on Oblivion Express, the train map, with Going Nuclear, Lava Burst, and Scorched Earth. It's rated Brutal +2. Lots of splash damage here. Commanders with small and easy to micro armies or very cheap armies will be at an advantage here. Tychus, Nova, and Zeratul with small easy to micro armies come to mind. Long range things like Earth Splitter ordnances and Stukov siege tanks can also help burst down trains and waves, as long as you keep them alive. Zerglings with Shredding Claws will also be quite valuable here, as they are expendable apparently. That's how you spell expendable now, guys. But deal their damage before they die, especially to the trains. Get detection on the ramps if you are playing against Terran, because as you know, they will get nukes. Then we will have timely reinforcements on minor evacuation with Temporal Field and Void Rifts. Again, the Void Rifts are here, so it's going to be Brutal +4 right away. Void Rifts always require commanders to get forces out early, or face swift elimination. On this map in particular, you'll be forced to rush into enemy lines and break through to far rifts while trying to defend the ships from hordes of attacks. Commanders will probably have to split roles here between Rift Sniping and IDEF. For example, Carax, Swan. Swan can still actually kill the Void Rifts even while defending the ships. I'll probably vote, without actually playing this yet, I'll probably vote him for Commander of the Week. Yeah, I'll do that. Let me see. We'll next have Blind Tribute on Chain of Ascension with Kill Bots and Short-Sighted. It's rated Brutal +2, and I can see why. Feeding the bots will be a priority here, as is clearing the map as fast as possible. The bots themselves spawn for enemy buildings. Once they are gone, so are the bots. That being said, if you can full clear the map faster, you might as well end the game, right? Depending on your commander of choice, you might want to push to end as quickly as possible to have the fewest amount of kill bots come to your base. Or you might want to outlast the bots if you have cheap dudes like Stukov, Stetboy, Zagara, that sort of thing. Next we'll have, although if you have Zagara, you should just end the map. Yeah, really, you should really just end the map. Next we'll have Barrier to Entry on Lock and Load. With Barrier, Mineral Shields, and Just Die, it's rated Brutal +4. Enemies are gonna be harder to kill on this one, but strong commanders like Dahaka and Abathur will still probably go through this within the first 12 minutes, let's be honest. This is still a relatively easy map despite being Brutal +4. There's a funny trick you can do with some commanders for his Mineral Shields. It's not the strongest strategy, but it's pretty funny. If you lift off and relocate your Town Hall 20 distance away from the mineral patches, the shields will not spawn. It's further, but for Hero Solo commanders, it is a good way to troll Amon. If you're gonna do hero solo, just lift off, land further away, then let your workers long distance mine. It'll be fine. Then we have like swatting insects on Cradle of Death with Alien Incubation, Missile Command, and Outbreak. Stukov, Abathur, Stukov, Karak, and Swank players will really love this mutation. They get to camp the ramps and get tons of free kills. For people who do like to get the objectives done, I would watch out for point defense drones from Missile Command. I'd opt for hit scan units on this one, if you have the option. The good news is, apparently the missiles don't spawn Brutalics anymore, so that's nice for commanders who take a while to get units. Next we have getting along on Donny Vermillion, with Polarity and Sharing is Caring. Rating is Brutal +2, so it's not that bad. But, despite being only Brutal +2, I can already tell that this will be one of the more hated mutations in the pool. Polarity splits each base and attack wave in such a way that each player needs to defend and attack at the same time, forcing a dual simultaneous half solo of sorts. I would probably just do a hero solo here if I had the option, just so I wouldn't worry about supply. Alternatively, since Turkey Shoot isn't active, maybe Commander supply perks will remain active, meaning Artanis and Dehaka would get some 400 supply right from the start. Would love to see someone test this. Maybe I will later on. Stay tuned. Knock Knock on Dead of Night will have Avenger and Poopagators. This is the last one for this patch. So again, this will last us for 2 months, so yeah, this will be the last one of them, I think. This one will be extremely punishing. It's rated Brutal +4, yeah. Poopagators have always had such a fast effect that one mistake could effectively end the game. I recommend that commanders be aware at all times of poops that spawn all around the map. If you don't snipe them immediately, they get Avenger buffs, and they become even harder to kill. Also, watch out for Daybreak, since that will burn tons of enemies around the poops and effectively give all the Poopagators 10 free Avenger buffs. I recommend ending this as fast as possible instead of trying to hold out. So yeah, those are all the mutators that we get for now. If you like the music in this one, I'll link it down below so you can listen. I'll also link this post. Of course, you can see the URL but on top. I'll link it down below for your pleasure. And hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. If you have an idea for what else to do, please leave that in a comment. See you.